Today we are going to see a very important topic, that is a Salesforce order of execution. This is the agenda. First we can see introduction, next order of execution, that is an order like trigger flows like that, and the next I will show some sample use case for it. Okay, introduction. And Salesforce, the order of execution defines the exact sequence in which events, triggers, workflow and validation occurs when a record is inserted or updated or deleted, and it ensures that all processes run in the structured and predictable manner. Okay, and why it is important means ensure data integrity by validating and processing the records in the controlled order. And next point is prevent unexpected automation conflicts and such as duplicate updates or recursive triggers, and it is enhance the system performance by reducing unnecessary processing. And the first step of order of execution is initial record loading. And while creating a record or updating a record, first initialize the record without saving and without committing to the database. And if it is updated, then it is overwriting the old value with the new values, and it is ensured the record reflects that test data submitted. Okay, and this is the first step. And the next step is validation. And while inserting a record, and it is validating the system validation first. Example, system validation means the record fields and any lookup filter, those kind of validation is a system validation. And if we are creating record from the standard UI, and it will run the custom validation rules and this maximum field and these validations. And next step is record trigger flow, and this is third step. Before record trigger flow, it will run the as a third step after the system validations. And next one is before trigger. After the before flow is run, and before trigger is running as a fourth step, and it execute the all before trigger, before insert and update. And it will once the before trigger and before flow runs, and the validation again it will run, because in the before trigger or before flow we are written any field values, right? That's why we are going to the before event, and in that it will be overwriting the value. Then if we have any validation in that field, then we need to validate that as well. That's why the validation rule was running again. And the next one is duplicate rule. And once the before trigger, and after that once again it will run validation rule, right? As I mentioned, after that the duplicate rule was running, and executing the duplicate rules to prevent creation of the duplicate records. Example, if we are creating a contact with one email like test1@gmail.com, if it is already there, then it will. We have any duplicate rules in our Salesforce org, then we need to show that duplicate validation, and that rule will execute after the before trigger. And next point is the record was saved to database, not committed. Okay, just it will save the database, but without committing the transaction. So this will be executing after this part. And after that saving the record without committing, then the after trigger will execute. After trigger, after insert or update will execute after that record was saving. And after the trigger, then assignment and auto response rule will execute. Assignment rule means if we are creating any lead, then if we have assignment, then it will assign the ownership to the reads or cases. Then this will be assignment rule. If we have enabled in our Salesforce org, then it will execute. Then auto response rule means if we have created any new case from web to case, anything from, then if we have auto response email rule in our Salesforce org, then it will be execute. After executing that assignment and auto response mode, then workflow rules and field updates will execute. Currently, we can't create a new workflow if the existing client, they might have workflow rules and field updates in that rules. Then in that rule will run after the assignment and auto response rule. Once in the workflow rule, if we have any field update, then the before and after trigger will execute once again, because in the workflow rule will run after the saving record, and it will be a process of after a trigger, right? Then it will be re-triggering the before and after triggers if we have any field update in the workflow rules. Next, once the workflow rule was done, then next it will be executing the process builders. And the process builder such as workflow rule, advanced type of workflow rule. Then after the process builder, we have a flow, right? So I think currently this process builder also we can't create, but as a existing process builder in existing client talks. And once the process builder was done, then it will execute the escalation rules. Okay, escalation rule, it will be coming on in the service clouds mostly. Anyone have worked on service cloud, then they have know about that escalation rule. This rule I will give a high level introduction. Then if you have free time, you can explore on it. And for escalation rule, if example, if we have one case and it needs to be timely handling, then it is automatically escalate the case to higher priority. So this kind of setup we can setting in the escalation rule. Okay. And next, once the escalation rules are completed, then the automation will come. And this flow automation means if we have any flow that is called from the workflow rules, so this kind of execute will come under this. And also the after trigger flow also come under this only. So example, if we have any after update logic in the record trigger flow, then it will be run in under this step. And once after trigger flow got run, then next is it will execute the entitlement rules. Okay, so entitlement rules also we have in the service cloud. It will be used for service level agreement use cases. Then it will be a separate big topic in the service cloud. So if you have free time, you can explore it on more. And next one is roll-up summary field and parent record updates. And if we have any roll-up summary fields, example, the total amount field have in opportunity, right? We add any opportunity line item, opportunity product means, and it will be automatically calculate that line amount from the opportunity product, and it will be roll-up summary in the opportunity. So in that roll-up field will update in at the after trigger, after flow, all after that only roll-up summary field update. Okay, due to that roll-up summary field, it has running one update in the opportunity level. That is opportunity is a parent record, right? So if we have any parent record, update, then the parent record trigger will fire based on that parent record update. Okay, example I explained that. So hope you guys are understand. So next, after that roll-up summary field got run, then it will be executing the criteria based sharing rule. Okay, the criteria based sharing rule will run. Example, if we have any sharing rule like if account country was USA, then we need to share this record to some group of members. If we have like a sharing rule like that, then this record will sharing to that group of users based on the criteria that we have configured in the sharing rule. So this is the part will run. After the sharing rule committed, then only the record was committed to the database. Okay, so this you need to clear about that. After all the execution was done, then only the record was committing to the database. Okay, and after committing post commit, and we have some logics to execute, like it will execute the sending the emails and executing the asynchronous apex like feature, queuable, and batch. So if you have any executing logic in the trigger, then it will be executing after the commit, post commit actions it called. Okay, yeah, I will show some use cases based on this. First we can show the how before flow and before trigger will executing. Okay, and mostly if we have a requirement to update the field in the same object type, like if we are creating account or updating account based on some field criteria, if we need to update any other field, so we should go with the before event, before trigger flow or before trigger. So in that also, don't blindly go with the flow or trigger. You need to see what are the logic we are existing we have in the triggers and the flows. Okay, based on that you need to go with that flow or trigger. You need to think about. So in this flow, and I have a condition like record is created or updated, and industry value have agriculture. Okay, and if industry have agriculture, I am updating the industry value to the apparel. Okay, this value I am updating in the before trigger flow, and in the apex trigger I'm updating the value. If industry have a agriculture value, then I am updating the account type to the prospect. This is the logic I have. This is just I added some scenario. This will be applicable any client scenario based on some changes. Okay, so I will explain that. I am creating one account. giving the industry as agriculture. Okay, I will explain one scenario. And in the existing client have this logic in the apex trigger. Okay, someone have done this logic. And what is the requirement means if we have, you can assume this instead of industry, you can assume it as a source, account source like that. Okay, if that client have account data from the different sources like Stripes and QuickBooks and definitely some other CRMs. Okay, then they are storing the source in the account field. Like this account coming from the Stripe, this account coming from that somewhere else. Okay, and example here we are checking if this account coming from the Stripe, then we are setting account type as prospect. So if that kind of logic they have in the trigger, but in newly we have one requirement like if you have account source value have Stripe, and we are changing the account source value to the something called a new Stripe or something like that. Okay, then it will be override value, then trigger value not get updated account type. We can see it now, and same updated the if we have industry value agriculture, I'm updating appeal here. Okay, and in the trigger I have industry value have agriculture and I am updating prospect, but I need to update the both things. I need account type as prospect and industry have appeal. Okay, and we can see how it looks. I am updating the industry as agriculture, then I am saving this. So the industry got updated apparel. This flow before flow works fine, right? Then I am seeing the account type. Account type not get updated because before flow runs before trigger, right? Then here it will be overriding the value industry as apparel. While checking condition in the flow, then this got failed, so account type not get updated. Okay, so we need to make sure this logic as well. If you need this update as well, then we should definitely go with this logic to the before trigger after this point, right? So like that you need to think before implementation and for this before flow. Okay, so that is I want to mention, and this is the before part, and we can check how the after is working. Okay, in the flow, I'm checking the contact got was created or updated, and in the contact, I am checking the account ID not equal to null and level is not equal to null. Level means we have one field called level. Okay, and it have a value the three primary level, secondary level, and tertiary level. These three value we have in the level field in the contact. Okay, before that I need to mention this is after trigger flow. Why after trigger flow means based on that contact field value we need to update the account field. That's why we are going with that after trigger flow. Okay, and if the contact level is primary level, then we need to update that priority to the low in the account. Okay, so priority as a low, and if it is secondary, priority as a high. If it's tertiary, priority as a medium. This is I am updating in the record trigger flow. Okay, and in the trigger I am updating this same in the after trigger. This is the existingly they have done. Without seeing this, if you are going with that flow, then you may face this issue. Okay, and in the after trigger flow, I have two methods to call. Okay, after creator updated, I am updating the account priority, same as if it is primary, I am updating high. But in the flow, if it is primary, I am updating low. So something I have updated like this. If it is secondary, I am updating the medium, and if it is tertiary, I am updating the low. But here I will send differently. Okay, then. If while creating contact, I am sending one email notification to the contact email. Okay, so in the contact email content, I am referring that account custom priority. Okay, we can see what value coming here. Okay, I will go and create one contact record, and I will choose this account. I am updating that level. And before that, I will give the email ID. Then only we got an email. And where is the level? Yeah, here. I am updating level as secondary. Okay. Then if we go as a flow, then the secondary level, and we got in the account priority field have high, but in the trigger we have set it as medium. So you can check this. So I will create a record now. So in the order of execution, I already mentioned after trigger flow run after the trigger done. Okay. First it will run after trigger, then only it will run after trigger flow. Okay. You need to make sure that So in the flow, we have value set as priority equal to high, right? Then it will be updated correctly as expected. Where is that? Yeah, priority as high, correct? Then what issue we are facing means before that here we are updating the account priority as medium, right? Then in the trigger itself, we are sending the email. So in the email, we have a wrong value. Here we have a wrong value. It has a medium. After trigger only the record trigger flow will run, right? So once this will run, after that it got overwritten the priority value. So this will create maybe an issue because in the record we have different value, in the mail content we have different value. So you need to make sure this as well. And in the most email part, you can go with the flow that is preferable. Okay. So you need to think about it, and before implementation, you need to make sure that if we are going with the correct path and if we are going with the correct platform to use before after trigger after flow. So like that you need to think and you need to implement. Okay. Thank you.